Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Ghostbusters 2, starring Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, Annie Potts, Rick Moranis, and Ernie Hudson, directed by Ivan Reitman. Now, I have seen this once in my life, but I don't remember too much about it, so let's see how much I remember from this movie. Let's get into it. Here goes. We return 5 years after the events of the first movie, as we see Dana Barrett, returned by Sigourney Weaver, seeing a ghost pushing a baby carrot with her child as it's saved, which was a weird opening, but not as good as the first film. The birthday party scene with Ray, returned by Dan Aykroyd, and Winston, returned by Ernie Hudson, was absolutely painful as the kids asked for He Man, and honestly, I don't see what's so special about He Man, and I never could get into that show. And the Ghostbusters got sued by the city of New York and ran out of business, which is a sad way to open a predecessor sequel that was a big hit, as this movie is going to fall apart from there. Dana goes to Dr. Egon Spangler, returned by Harold Ramis, about the baby carriage, as she's a single mother with, and Peter Venkman, returned by Bill Murray, is a TV talk show host with a guest who says the world will end New Year's Eve and deals with a bunch of psychos. And this is what happens to the Ghostbusters. Oh, brother. This is going to be a bad time at the movies. I just know it. Dana's boss at the art gallery did annoy the hell out of me as Peter visits Rey's bookshop while Egon works with Ray on a scientific and project. And next scene, they visit Dana's place and check on the baby, and Peter intervenes with their work while checking on the baby and to see if there's any paranormal activity happening around them. And they find a ghost on the ground and drilling a big hole. And honestly, I'm not finding this movie as good nor funny as the original film. Some painting Dana made as has a devil appearing as a human being and asks for a child and controls his brain. And I'm thinking, is this the original movie all over again? Peter, Ray, and Egon see some slime in the underground while the cops come by, and as they get Ray out of there, the lights go out in New York City while Dana's boss visits Dana at home while trying to find the baby, and the Ghostbusters get sued once again. And their lawyer, Louis Tully, played by Rick Moranis, as he doesn't do much of anything in this movie, and the courtroom scene is painfully acted as it's a painful scene. When the court hearing ends, a couple of ghosts in chairs come up and start attacking the room, including the lady lawyer, and they get into gear and stop the ghosts and are successful and get two in the box, and they get the Ghostbusters, including their assistant Janine Milnitz, returned by Annie Potts, and the song being sung by a different singer is not the greatest thing I've heard, as it was the late 1980s. The slime's weakness is treating it negatively, but by calling it terrible things. I'm not buying that because it's not very realistic. It's kind of like I didn't buy that ending of It Chapter 2 when they say negative things about Pennywise. Dina witnessing the painting being weird while Peter visits her at work, and her boss acts very suspicious while Dina tells Peter about the pointy the painting staring at her, which was kind of an amusing scene. While nighttime comes and Dana tries to give a baby Oscar, that's his name, the baby, I mean, a bath when some pink goo comes up and scares her, and they go to Peter's place, and he calls Ray and Egon to get to Dana's bathtub and visit the museum the next day and to see the evil painting. And this is perhaps the weakest writing of this original stuff this far. But we'll see how the new movie goes. Ray and Egon gets trapped while the photos of the painting of Vigo as Winston comes in and puts it out, and Peter can't join them on the mission to a sewer to see dead bodies in there, as it scares the bejesus out of them. And am I laughing at this? No, because it's not funny for me to begin with. They get to the slime in the sewer and put a piece of machine in the goo, as Ray, Egon, and Winston jump in the slime while Peter is on a date with Dana and Janine, and Louis babysit baby Oscar. And after they put the baby to sleep, they flirt with each other, and the three Ghostbusters almost kill each other because of the slime and visit Peter and Dana's date and get thrown out with Peter as they get arrested and visit the mayor of New York to tell him what they found in the sewer and to be nice to one another before they explode. And the mayor's assistant puts them in a mental hospital on a straitjacket while the museum boss talks with Vigo. And a lightning strike occurs as baby Oscar is outside on the ledge, and Dana goes after him, but unfortunately, a ghost grabs the baby and takes him to the museum as Dana goes after the baby Oscar to the museum. And is any of this working as much as the original? Not really, to be brutally honest. Dana gets to the museum and finds baby Oscar and almost has him, but Vigo takes him back because he's the chosen one for Vigo's curse, while the city is getting slimed and attacked by ghosts. And these effects look absolutely terrible. The mayor discovers the world going to hell as he wants the Ghostbusters back on the street and to attack the slime, while Dana talks with the museum boss, and the Ghostbusters can't destroy the slime until they get an idea of going to the Statue of Liberty and play music to the slime's attention and make the Statue of Liberty go to the slime at the museum while Louis dresses up as a Ghostbuster. And the CGI on the walking Statue of Liberty looks awful, as it's almost the new year while all hell breaks loose during this final action scene, and this boss gets turned into normal after Ray getting him wet, and Vigo comes as a ghost walking down and knocks down the Ghostbusters and makes them stiff as they can barely move as Peter tries to distract Vigo, but doesn't work as the city sings and it releases the Ghostbusters and traps Vigo, but gets in Ray, and they shoot Vigo while Louis arrives and destroys the slime, and Ray turns back into himself and everything goes good again. And there's a painting of the Ghostbusters and the crowd cheers the Ghostbusters and the credits song. And this isn't the same movie as the original, as it's pretty disappointing in my opinion. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 4.1 out of 10. The story was weak as the characters are a little unlikable this time in this movie, which is a real shame. The CGI looks awful and the new songs were pretty bad, and the movie, in my opinion, is very sad, as I was disappointed in this thing and as I wanted this thing to be better than it was, but not as disappointed as I will be the next round. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with the 2016 version of Ghostbusters. And until then, I ain't afraid of no ghosts.